As the number of people dying from drugs climbs, the fight against it gets tougher. Fox 6's Suzanne Spencer has more on a particular case that's directly affecting the battle against drugs in Milwaukee County.
If there's one thing golf will teach you,
if we birdie this, we're 6 under on the back.
It's to play the ball where it lies.
I'll work.
Jason Fritz will always play that ball at an outing for his brother, who isn't there to play alongside him.
I don't want to say I've given up hope, because I haven't, but every year that passes makes me realize it's going to be harder and harder.
Jason's brother Terry battled addiction for nearly 10 years and recognized he needed rehab.
A few years later, he told us that he was scared and that he was addicted to heroin. I thought he was kidding, and then I looked at his face and I knew he wasn't.
What's now a leveled piece of land at 68th and Sheridan would be where the 26-year-old took one of his last breaths.
We lost him October 1st, 2014, and the world changed.
With a syringe left in his lap, his family left with the reality of never knowing who gave him that lethal dose of heroin.
That's a drug dealer. That's not an addict trying to find a means to get more drugs. That's a drug dealer, and a drug dealer is a murderer.
Fritz's death, just one of 251 in 2014, that number up to 401 last year.
This is a problem that the country's just never seen before.
Milwaukee County District Attorney John Chisholm is going after those deadly dealers in what are called Len bias cases.
At any given time, I have one prosecutor that does nothing but Len bias, or what we would call reckless homicides related to distributing a drug that causes somebody's death.
That's one prosecutor for nearly 401 drug overdose deaths last year, and of those, 24 were prosecuted.
And it's not because the money isn't there, it's just not being released.
To understand why, you have to travel to Chicago, where a lawsuit halted federal funds directly impacting Milwaukee's fight against drug overdoses. It started in April 2017 when the U.S. Department of Justice questioned several cities, including Milwaukee, on immigration policy compliance, those cities known as sanctuary cities. In a letter, the DOJ warned Milwaukee could lose its funding that directly impacts the number of prosecutors. Chicago, too, was in the same battle, but in August, they took theirs to court. Well, not long after, the DOJ sent Milwaukee a letter saying it was in compliance. Fast forward to April 2018. The U.S. Court of Appeals ruled the DOJ could not withhold such funds. Days before this story was set to air, Milwaukee County received word it will receive those federal funds, but until then, they're losing prosecutors fast.
My prediction is that we haven't crested yet, that we still have a tough time ahead of us.
And cases like Fritz's could be impacted. The DA's office had to cut 6 positions and anticipates cutting another 4 if the funding doesn't come soon, leaving one prosecutor to handle all the overdose death cases, even though it received word it's compliant.
Do you think one prosecutor is enough in Milwaukee?
No, certainly isn't. And those cases are as time-consuming as any case a prosecutor will work on.
Attorney General Brad Schimel said DA's offices are functioning at 1990 staffing levels.
What steps have you taken to ask the DOJ to release some of that funding to Milwaukee?
Well, that's a battle between Milwaukee and the federal government. The policies they're making are impacting decisions at the U.S. Department of Justice.
I've talked to hundreds, maybe thousands of addicts since Terry's passed, and every single one of them said the same thing. They had to make the decision that they wanted to be done.
No matter whose decision it is, the Fritzes will keep swinging for change and raising awareness for others battling addiction, even if it means getting back out and trying again.
For them to go back 4 years and try to find a needle in a haystack, I don't know. But if we can help somebody not feel the way that we feel, it's all worth it. If we help one person, it's all worth it to me.
Because sinking one could change the course of the game. We have just heard from the Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office, who says that those federal funds are expected to be released in August. The DA said the process has never unfolded with such uncertainty as it has in this case. But if that funding does come, Milwaukee DA's office hopes to add at least one more prosecutor to fight the drug overdose death cases. Reporting in the studio, Suzanne Spencer, Fox 6 News.